Hi everybody. This week I was going to talk about Marvel and Moon Knight and basically dunk on Disney like many others do every day. That video is almost ready, but in light of recent events and in the interest of exploring concepts where representation is prioritized, this week's Pop Recultured is going to be a little different. In 1977, the original Star Wars broke new ground, not just for the science of filmmaking, but for the art of storytelling as well. Blending together real-world mythological and mystical influence with cutting-edge special effects, George Lucas created an epic saga whose events and characters inspire the imagination to this day.
Target, then name name it, now!
But recently, it was revealed that one of the major inspirations for one of Star Wars' most iconic characters had the chance to transform their self-made archetype directly into the film's universe, but ultimately refused and walked away. This is Pop Recultured, where I explore mashups of two different narrative worlds.
Hello there.
Before the Jedi, there was Obi-Wan Kenobi. In A New Hope, the only major source of world building for the Star Wars universe comes in the form of an aging warrior, living a life of solitude in the desert. Other than his former apprentice Darth Vader, all we know about the Jedi in 1977 comes from the related experiences of Obi-Wan Kenobi. There's no direct mention of the Emperor's deception, of Order 66, not even of Master Yoda. Kenobi, as brilliantly played by both Sir Alec Guinness and eventually Ewan McGregor, is an elegant relic,
but a more civilized age.
Stoic, yet haunted, but always faithful to the Force. It's no secret that Kenobi, as well as the very concept of Jedi, were partially influenced by samurai, particularly the films of legendary Japanese director Akira Kurosawa. The influence of many of Kurosawa's samurai stories continue to be reflected in Star Wars to this day, with varying degrees of subtlety. But none more than his 1958 adventure, The Hidden Fortress. George Lucas took heavy inspiration from this film's plot to make Star Wars, including the performance of its protagonist, played by actor Toshiro Mifune. A frequent collaborator with Kurosawa, Mifune is credited with pioneering the archetype of the nameless, wandering samurai in not only Japanese cinema, but around the world as well. Mifune's countless performances as exiled warriors seeking wrongs to right became an influence that ultimately transcended both genres and time itself, as the Ronin archetype that he perfected can be found everywhere in popular culture to this day. This legendary image was what inspired George Lucas to create Obi-Wan Kenobi and eventually the Jedi Order. But when it came time to cast Star Wars, Lucas's ambitions for Kenobi were greater still. According to a 2015 statement by Mifune's daughter Mika, Lucas reached out to Toshiro and offered him the role of Obi-Wan directly. Lucas was reportedly thrilled at the concept of having the original blueprint for the roving warrior attached to his project, and for good reason. The quiet intensity that Mifune brought to all of his roles would serve the character of the veteran Jedi Master perfectly, as well as solidifying his place in Western pop culture for all time. There are conflicting reports on what exactly happened next. One states that Fox executives vetoed the casting, preferring that Lucas cast an actor more well-known to Western audiences. Another states that Mifune's English was difficult to understand, and would have had to have been dubbed over, costing this small indie production time and money. The simplest yet claims that Mifune simply wasn't available. According to Mika, though, Mifune himself turned down the role of Kenobi, stating that the low-quality special effects of the time would contribute to cheapening the image of samurai, an image for which Mifune reasonably felt a great deal of pride. Not to be denied, Lucas then offered Mifune the role of Darth Vader, stating that the actor's face would be covered for the entire film. While the actor and director did discuss this for a while, Toshiro Mifune would ultimately back out of Star Wars for good. While Toshiro Mifune will always be cemented in history as the face of the cinematic samurai, I can't help but feel wistful at the missed opportunity of his participation in Star Wars. Arguing for him to replace James Earl Jones as Darth Vader is admittedly a hard sell, though, that being said, I would have loved to have seen the other guy give it a shot. But to have the legendary warrior himself appear in the desert, speak regretfully about the Clone Wars, begin Luke's training, and ultimately give his life on the Death Star? Lends an undeniable poetry not only to Mifune's own career, but to that of world cinema as well. The man who created the samurai dies a Jedi. While this is primarily a show about speculation and fiction and not real life, there are a few conjectures we can make on the real-world ramifications of Toshiro Mifune as Obi-Wan Kenobi. Firstly, introducing a main character played by an Asian actor in what would eventually become a multi-billion-dollar franchise forever codes that character as being Asian, even in a galaxy far, far away. At the time of Star Wars' release, this move would have been a leap forward in terms of diversity in major film production, although, in post-Vietnam America, it's easily understandable, however misguided or outright racist, why 20th Century Fox may have shown reluctance to casting an Asian actor, no matter their credentials. But imagine if they hadn't been. Obi-Wan Kenobi would have been the most high-profile Asian science fiction character since Hikaru Sulu. The prequels would have guaranteed a younger Asian actor a chance at instant superstardom, and the fight for representation of all ethnic and racial minorities in American culture would have a major victory behind it, paving the way for others in and outside of the Star Wars universe. However, with the purchase of Lucasfilm by the Disney company, and the latter's history of performative progressivism and/or tokenism, it wouldn't be out of the question to expect diversity in most of their major franchises to freeze to a slow walk, whether Mifune was cast as Kenobi or not. Unfortunately, imagining a world where Toshiro Mifune played Obi-Wan Kenobi is all we can do, though some people like to try a little harder. While Guinness and McGregor turned in pitch-perfect performances as the aging sorcerer, the mystique of Toshiro Mifune was a phenomenon of both talent and skill, and his absence from Star Wars is as strongly felt as his absence from the very craft of acting. Oh, what do you know, I ended up dunking on Disney anyway. Hey everybody, thank you for watching this video. If you thought of anything good or bad that would come of Toshiro Mifune's hypothetical role as Obi-Wan Kenobi, leave it in a comment below. If you want to see more videos like these, go ahead and subscribe to be notified when they're released. And if this video inspired you to make any art, please feel free to tag me on social media. I would love to see it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.